Welcome to Instablogs Global Report. This is Sukhmani with fresh updates and more citizen voices from all over the world. Stories for the day are: e-commerce walking tightrope in United States, New Zealand pessimistic about its economy, 17 million people face starvation in the Horn of Africa, and UK pair jailed for sex on Dubai beach. The latest internet earnings session has got off to a decidedly unappetizing start in the United States. eBay.com, an online auction and shopping website, has registered its two remarkable firsts: the first ever fall in the value of goods sold through its sites, and a fourth quarter financial forecast that predicts its first ever revenue decline. CJ Prince Campbell believes that it would be difficult to make up for the revenue decline. Online shoppers can strike good bargain deals elsewhere around the web.
This is Prince Campbell for Instablogs.com, reporting from the United States. The current economic downturn has left very few businesses unaffected. eBay, too, has registered its first decline in its 13-year history. There has been a 1% fall in the value of goods sold by the site, and a first-ever decline in revenue, which has been growing at 30% this time until last year. With the downturn becoming increasingly palatable, more and more people would be inclined towards selling things that come up with cash. Even then, it seems it would be difficult to make the revenues decline. To say that in difficult economic conditions, buyers and sellers are more likely to turn to eBay in pursuit of a bargain or to raise needed cash is obviously not inviting enough. Online shoppers today are smarter than web consumers of the 1990s. Essentially, buyers have discovered that they can find deals that are just as good elsewhere around the web these days, and in environments that are easier to use and offer greater certainty and security than eBay's. Sellers too will catch on and follow the buyers, and this time, not necessarily on eBay. It's tough calling for e-commerce.
New Zealand consumers are more pessimistic about the outlook for the economy as global credit market turmoil sparks concerns about financial stability. The economic crisis are expected to leave an impact upon the results of November 8 elections. CJ Byron Clark feels that the economy will only worsen over the next 1 year.
This is Byron Clark, citizen journalist from New Zealand, reporting on Instablogs. New Zealand consumers are more pessimistic about the outlook for the economy as global credit market turmoil sparked concerns about financial security. Most of the people expect that the economy will only worsen over the next year. Confidence has fallen after the economy slumped into a recession in the first half of this year, and the global credit crisis threatens the second half recovery. The government's plan to guarantee the deposit with the nation's banks and the non-bank lenders too is quite unlikely to bolster confidence or even increase the spending. The Reserve Bank of New Zealand's delay in reviewing the schedule rate in the current environment too is beyond logic, which has left many annoyed. With the fast approaching November 8 elections, Prime Minister Helen Clark has backed her management of the economy to help overcome the deficit. Nothing can deny that the financial turmoil will definitely have an impact on the results of the upcoming elections. For instance, according to a poll conducted by Television New Zealand, Helen Clark's Labour Party has 33% support compared to the main opposition National Party's 51%.
A combination of drought, conflict and rising food prices has left more than 17 million people in the Horn of Africa sliding into a full-blown humanitarian crisis. In Ethiopia and Somalia, nearly half the population is slowly starving, whereas in Kenya, poor families are paying as much as 80% of their income just on food alone. CJ Rose Wangui demands immediate action from the international community to address the humanitarian crisis in the region.
This is Rose Wangui, a citizen journalist from Kenya, reporting on Instablogs. A combination of drought, conflict, and rising food prices has left more than 17 million people in the Horn of Africa sliding into a full-blown humanitarian crisis. That's the equivalent of nearly the entire population of Australia facing starvation. Notably, Kenya, Somalia, and Ethiopia are heading into the peak hunger season when cereals prices are at their highest, and families have no stocks left from the previous harvest. In Kenya, poor families are using as much as 80% of their income just on food alone. But with world markets in a downward trend and world leaders warning of a coming global recession, the food crisis and the fate of 17 million people in Africa is being pushed down the list of priorities. And as the government tightens its spending, the international community must focus their efforts on disaster risk reduction, investing in food production and providing long-term safety nets to prevent the poorest from falling over the edge into starvation.
A British man and woman have been sentenced to 3 months in jail in Dubai for being found guilty of having sex on a beach. Michelle Palmer, 36, and Vince Ecourse, 34, were arrested on 5th of July. They have been fined 1,000 dirhams and will be deported after serving their sentences. CJ Amanda Thomas questions whether the pair would still face a similar fate had they been in England.
This is Amanda Thomas, citizen journalist, reporting from the UK for Instablogs. 2 Britons arrested in Dubai and charged with indecent behaviour, being drunk in public and having unmarried sex, are to appear in court. If found guilty at next week's trial, could face punishment of between 3 months and 6 years in jail. However, the question is, would the pair face a similar fate had they been carried away by the heat of the moment on the shores of Britain? Authorities in the UK usually turn a blind eye to sex on the beach if it's in an isolated spot. However, the act could be construed as an outrage to public decency if it is reported by a witness. It is rare for an amorous couple to appear in court. If police do spot a couple engaging in al fresco lovemaking, they are more likely to issue a caution or a warning. But holiday makers should be aware that many countries are not as liberal as this one. It would be regarded as a much more serious offence in the Middle East, most of Asia, Africa, and most Catholic countries, and probably in the USA too.
If you want your voice to be heard by millions, let Instablogs be your choice. You can contact us at cj@instablogs.com. That's all for today's show. We'll be back with fresh updates and more citizen voices. Till then, it's goodbye from the entire team of Global Report.